Jim Condit Jr., you can really make a difference if you help this project we got going in the last weeks before the November 2016 presidential election. Two of the most important developments politically in my lifetime and your lifetime have happened in the last few days. Donald Trump in Palm Beach, Florida, and Columbus, Ohio, a few days ago, identified the international bankers as being the power behind Hillary Clinton, and that the international bankers were stealing American sovereignty and stealing jobs and wealth to enrich themselves. That's exactly right. The most important thing is on stealing American sovereignty and warping the future of the country. You can do something right now, but when you end watching this short video, to help us reach millions of people with a radio ad in the heartland of America. Literally, we can get messages through to millions of people as they're driving back to and from in their car, going to and from work. Trump has also talked about the election being rigged. He's been saying that since August 1st. Now, we had two websites up, openlettertodonaldtrump.com and electionnightgatekeepers.com, and we were trying to get him and the other presidential candidates to say something like this. We thought Trump might say it, and he has. He's saying the election is going to be rigged against me. Hillary Clinton then came in, so she didn't feel like she was left out on this, and said the Russians are going to join up with Trump, she was afraid, and hack the computers against her. Well, that's even more precise, because we want Trump to start saying computer rigging, because that's the main danger. So Trump brought this up, and he brings up the international bankers. Now, October 18th is the day this is being made. The last 2 days, the networks, CNN, Fox, MSNBC, ABC, NBC, and CBS are going nuts trying to roll back this idea that the election can be rigged. Okay? They're really going nuts on that. Today, just coincidentally, just a few hours ago, Hannity did one of the most important election broadcasts of my lifetime and your lifetime again. It's providential he did it. He had on a guy named Ethan Pepper, a young guy who's going to devote his cyber skills to fighting the New World Order. That's what it says on his own thing, or fighting the encroaching centralized government and encroaching police state type stuff. And what Ethan Pepper said on Sean Hannity between 5:45 and 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday, October 18th, what he said is that computers are easily hacked. And it's just as, if you're going to hack one vote, it's just as easy to hack 1 million votes. That's what we've been trying to get out through election night gatekeepers. That's the problem. The problem isn't some kid in Hackensack, New Jersey, trying to hack in from his basement. The problem is the vendors, the 3 vendors that count 96% of our vote on their secret computer programs. Okay? And finally, a major outlet, Sean Hannity Radio, with this guy Ethan Pepper, who's really doesn't look like he can be over 25, is spilling the whole beans in public. And he said again, all computers are easily hacked if you have a good hacker. It's as easy to, if you're going to hack one vote, you may as well switch 1 million votes. That would be like taking Trump votes in the computer and switching them to Hillary votes. And then he said something equally important. He says one of the companies is Smart, I think it was Smart Vote or Smart Tech or something, a company that George Soros, the big left-wing billionaire, is in charge of. And that, it's Smart Tech, I should have the name down, but you can Google it. They are big in 16 states. Now that's the problem. The problem again is not the kid in his basement. The problem is the 3 vendors who have been hired by 3,000 of our 3,141 counties. They own the software. And a lot of the Bernie Sanders people are onto it, a lot of the Trump people are onto it. They are the ones who can hack the election because they own the software and switch the votes and steal the election right out from under your nose. So that's what our radio ad's about, and we want you to do something and help us get this to the public. Now, let me explain just before we get into the 1-minute commercial how this works. Always they say in the movies, if it's sports or something, follow the money. Well, how about let's follow the money in the world? The corporations, the big corporations that have the power to issue money for the United States and for the world. That would be the Federal Reserve Board and Goldman Sachs in this country. And then there's others outside this country. They issue money in secret. Nobody knows. That is where the power is. If I could issue money, I'd have organizations in all 50 states within a few weeks. They've been issuing money since 1913, around that time, 130 3 years now. So what happens is the big banks that can issue money have bought all 5 networks. They control all 5 TV networks. And the group that this is, and you can go anywhere, almost anywhere else to get fairy tales. I'm going to tell you the truth. That group is, the group that owns the 5 TV networks are basically agnostic, atheistic, power-mad Jews. Jews, all 5 networks. And this is public knowledge. You can go onto our website, letfreedomring2016.com, hit documentation, and you go down there and you'll see it documented from the New York Times, from Disney's website. This is not secret information. Everybody's allowed to rail against the Islamic fascist or extremists 24 hours a day. But how about those who are running and the Federal Reserve and Goldman Sachs are run by the same group. So they bought up the 5 TV networks. So when you hear all these phony polls coming out, that Trump is losing everywhere and Hillary's winning everywhere, these are lies made up by these 5 TV networks. They're contradicted by the crowds, 15 to 25,000 for 10 months now everywhere for Trump. Hillary can't get more than 200 to 400 people unless it's a special thing where they have the Democratic Party employees come out. The online polls with 1 million to 2 million people, or at least 100,000 and some of them participating, Trump wins 70 to 30, 80 to 20. But in these, quite frankly, these organized Jewish shadow government polls, they say Hillary's winning everywhere, and we don't know how they do them. And we're going to let they're doing this to prepare you for the rigged computer results. So that's the way it works. The same group, the international bankers, own the 5 TV networks by now and all the other major media and the major radio stations. And they also own the 3 companies, Hart, Dominion, and ES&S, that count our votes on secret computer programs. Now, to make things even worse, the brain-dead boards of election in about 3,100 of our 3,141 counties, they sign a contract that they're not allowed to look at the software. So you got 3 private companies counting all of our votes on election night, and your ballots are taken away from you. Unless you're in New Hampshire, you can't get any ballots for 21 days. See the problem? And they announce the results. Phony polls to prepare your minds for the phony computer results. Phony exit polls on Election Day. This is all explained at openlettertodonaldtrump.com and electionnightgatekeepers.com to prepare you for the phony computer result that they rig on election night. So while editing this video, I realized that this key part of the puzzle was missing as to why getting our radio ads on the major AM talk stations right now is so important. So I'm adding in this later section here in the middle of the original video. The international banksters and their 3 mega election vendors, protected by their 5 big TV networks and the rest of the related big media, since 1988, have total power to publish any computer results they want on November 8th, 2016. By the way, they have this power thanks to the brain deadness and or cowardice of all good groups and public figures since I've been exposing the hijacking of our elections in 1979, with many others coming on board the election integrity issue since the Bush-Gore presidential race of 2000. So the international banksters and their TV networks and their 3 big election vendors have the power to publish anything they want on November 8th, 2016. But as Jim Collier said in Vote Scam, The Stealing of America, published in 1993, by the way, our Cincinnati story is chapter 12 of that book, as Jim Collier said to me, once they get the election computers in, they can do anything they want as long as it's believable. So our only hope now for the 2016 presidential elections is that the 12 election night gatekeepers see that 50% or over 50% of the American people will not believe it if they try to install Hillary Clinton as president. In other words, if they fear that 50% or more of the American people are going to be laughing and totally disgusted and knowing the election was stolen from Trump if they see Hillary Clinton being sworn in as president on January 20th, 2017. In that case, the election night gatekeepers will have to stand down and let the Trump victory stand on November 8th, 2016. Why? Because worse than Trump getting in is for half of America to think the presidency was stolen, at which point they'll start listening to people like me, and there are now several million people like me from the Ron Paul movement, the Bernie Sanders movement, and the Donald Trump movement, and installing dud Hillary could be perhaps the beginning of the end for the election night gatekeepers. Trump has done an excellent job by constantly stating the election is going to be rigged. But if he doesn't bring up the concept of computer rigging, and even that the 5 TV networks and the big 3 election vendors, ES&S, Hart, and Dominion, are the election night gatekeepers, then these election night gatekeepers have the option to rig the election by computer so that it looks like Hillary wins in a landslide everywhere, and then the cries of voter fraud by individuals will not be believable. This is what the crooked, sinister TV networks are doing right now, namely running endless reports trying to refute Trump, diverting attention from the computer rigging by the 3 big election vendors, which vendors they censor from your view. In other words, never talk about them so the American people doesn't even know who these 3 big election vendors are. Instead, the big networks are focusing only on how few cases of voter fraud by individual voters have been proven in the last 15 years. And if Trump focuses on computer rigging, the game would be up. If Trump tweeted out to his 21 million Twitter supporters, I should say social media supporters, to go to electionnightgatekeepers.com, or if he began referring people to electionnightgatekeepers.com in his speeches and interviews, then the game would be up because we explain exactly there what is happening to everyone. Finally, regardless of what Trump does or does not do, more people are paying attention right now than will be the case for the next 4 years. And more people than ever before are feeling in their gut that the whole election process is rigged, even if they can't put their finger on it, even if they don't know exactly how it is being rigged, as we are explaining to everyone in this video and at electionnightgatekeepers.com and at openlettertodonaldtrump.com. So that's why it's so important that you donate, if you can, to help us get these radio ads on the air in the middle of the largest talk shows in the closing days of presidential election 2016. The awareness spawned by this ad you are about to see could spark an awakening in the country, even if Trump fails to specifically bring up computer rigging. Now back to the original video. We hope that Trump adds in computer rigged at the debate tomorrow night, or if it's after the debate, we hope he adds it into all of his speeches and so forth. But this is what is happening, and what we need to stop by getting back to paper ballots counted at the precinct before the ballots leave the public sight. Now, how are we going to get this to 1 million plus people? If you're a congressional candidate, and we have Dr. Q Marskiani, Dr. Q, is the congressional candidate. I, by a technicality, was disqualified. Some of you know I run for Congress often and put my messages on the air. Would like to win, but we're outgunned by millions of dollars. So we have a federal congressional candidate on the ballot, Dr. Q, and they have to accept our ads, and they have to accept our radio shows on Sunday on 55 KRC. Which is part of iHeart. And the other side doesn't want us to have 1 minute. They fight us for every minute of time. Our side's like brain dead. Everybody's going out to eat at rich restaurants, driving around in their car. Say, we can't do anything. That isn't how the other side acts. They don't want us to have 1 minute. They interfere with our internet part of our broadcast. We're on AM radio too, but they interfere every Sunday with our internet broadcast. So you can get in for the week to listen to Rush Limbaugh or Sean Hannity right away. Can't get into our show on Sunday. Most people can't get in, have trouble. So because they have to accept our ads, though, we buy ads, and we want to buy 1 ad an hour for 2 days to get this commercial out I'm about to play for you. And that commercial will reach people who are not yet on to that they can't rely on the big media. And a lot of them are Trump supporters, and they already suspect, poll came out, that even the other side admitted 81% of Trump supporters fear the election might be rigged against him. So we're going to put this radio ad, hard-hitting radio ad I'm about to play for you, and we want you to help donate to help us get on. We need about $7,000 to run around the clock for 2 days. That will get to 10 million people audience. Actually, you never have more than 300,000 listening on WLW. But that'll get out there, and the loyal talk radio listeners will hear this at least many times, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 times in the 2 days, and over 1 million people hear it once, and if people pass it around the internet, it could be better than that. So that's how it works, and that's why they must carry our ads. We had to fight them real hard this time to stand up for our rights to get on the air, but we beat them. We spent thousands of hours getting to this point. Now we need 700 of you to donate $10, or 70 of you to donate $100, or anything in between. Please do something, though. Don't be sitting around saying you can't do anything. We know the strategies. This is one of them. After this, you get done doing this, you can go to networkamerica.org. The strategy is there. I put it on the screen here. Strategy is there to take back the country. So don't sit around doing nothing when there's strategies you can do. But if you don't know about where to find the strategies, now you know. So, again, networkamerica.org is the organizing site to take the country back. So now watch the ad, and then I'll come back and just say a few more words on how to donate. Trump publicly identified international bankers as the destroyers of America and the power behind Hillary Clinton. The international bankers around Goldman Sachs and the Fed are the organized, worldwide, Christ-hating, America-hating Jewish shadow government behind communism and the New World Order. These Jewish bankers rig key elections through their control of all 5 big TV networks which are issuing the false polls, and their control of the 3 big mega election vendors, ES&S, Hart, and Dominion, which process 90% plus of our USA vote on secret computer programs with the shameful permission of all 50 secretaries of state. In a fair count, Trump wins by a landslide in all 50 states. If they dare to announce Hillary the winner, it will be blatant computer fraud. We will then not have a legitimate government. See electionnightgatekeepers.com and see you this Sunday at 2 p.m. on 55 KRC.
Paid for by Dr. Kumar Skiani for Congress 2016.
Okay, so that is about the hardest hitting ad that you're ever going to see in your life. And it will go right in the middle of Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity, Glenn Beck, Mark Levin, Dave Ramsey, Coast to Coast AM, and Bill Cunningham on WLW, which is the bigger station. And it'll reach over 1 million people if you help us get the $7,000 right now. So what you can do to donate now is go to letfreedomring2016.com. I can give up to $5,000 from my congressional campaign. So if you just want to donate with a credit card, you go ahead and click on the right-hand column at letfreedomring2016.com. Click the donate button, and then you can donate just with a credit card. If you have a PayPal account, you can go to Dr. Q's website, which is electdrq.com. That's also linked on the Let Freedom Ring website, Let Freedom Ring 2016. So you can donate by PayPal only to electdrq.com. That's Dr. Q, Dr. Q Marskiani for Congress, 1st District of Ohio. Or, as I say, you can go just hit the button for my congressional campaign, and I can give $5,000 to Dr. Q to run these ads. So don't be like all the people. They're saying we can't do anything. You know, we have our guns. We can go anywhere we want. We can drive anywhere we want. People are eating out at restaurants and rich restaurants, going to the bank and from. We can do something. It's an amazing part of the brainwashing that people think that we can't do anything. And the little kids, like I'm going to show on the screen for a second here. One of the kids in my family. Look, they think somebody's got their hands on the wheel. They're not expecting us to lay down and let a handful of people that have grasped the power to issue money in the media to let them drive our country into the ground. If you're doing nothing, you're saying, oh, I'll just enjoy the good life and let it crash, and I'll leave my kids to deal with these vicious bankers and their allies that brought communism to Russia, communism to China, and other places, and killed over 100 million people in the 20th century. And that's what they plan to do for America in the United States, if they can get our guns and get more control. Believe me or not, that's what they plan to do. So do something, help us, everyone into the battle, and thanks for listening. If you just can't donate now, pray that we reach the right people that can, especially the people that could donate $1,000 to $2,500. By the way, any U.S. citizen can donate from $5 or $10 up to $2,500 to one or both of our 2 committees mentioned at the end of the video to help get these radio ads on the air. Again, as long as you're a U.S. citizen.